Recording, yay. All right, hi everybody. Welcome to Quarantine Theater's reading of Guy Ritchie's Toff Guys, also known as The Gentleman. Yay. So tonight we have with us so many wonderful people who have graciously volunteered to be multiple people. So let's see, we have in our first corner, we have Soren, who is going to be playing the, mainly he's going to be our narrator and scene description. And he's also going to be a bunch of other things. Everybody's going to be a bunch of other things. Walter is going to be Posh Pete, also known as Raymond in the movie, but his name was originally Posh Pete. Anne is going to be the lovely Rosalind, our main protagonist's wife. And then we have Jeremy, who is going to be our main protagonist, Michael. And let's see, we are going to have Travis as Dry Eye, and Carol, a newcomer, yay, welcome Carol, as Matthew, and a bunch of other people. As I said, everybody's being a bunch of other people, and I am going to be Fletcher and a bunch of other people.
All that other
all
stuff.
Right, and all that other stuff, and a partridge in a pear tree. All right. So, and without further ado, let's get this party started.
All right. Toff Guys. Written by Guy Ritchie, Marn Davies, and Ivan Atkinson. This is the September 28th, 2018 draft. Interior, Posh Pete's house, dining room, evening. Posh Pete, in his 40s, shuffles through to the kitchen in darkness, switches the light on, gets the bin bag out of the bin, ties it up, and puts it outside the back door. He steps into the dining room and almost jumps out of his skin. The light from the kitchen reveals the silhouette of Fletcher, 50s, a private investigator sitting at the dining table with a bottle of scotch and 2 glasses poured.
Evening, Pete.
Pete's fear turns to anger, but he keeps his voice down.
I should have stabbed you when that rolling pin. How dare you bring it to my home, Fletcher? This is my sanctuary.
I was rather hoping you'd share a drink with me.
I'd rather have a drink with my ex-wife.
I got a meeting tomorrow at your favorite newspaper. As the best private investigator in this smoky little town, they're ready to put 150 grand in my pocket to give them some filth. Good for me, that. Bad for you.
Pete sits down.
What's that smell?
Big Dave, editor extraordinaire, has got it in for your boss. Licorice assortment of tasty mates, and he's out to ruin him and all those that cozy up to him. Front cover, bosh, there will be blood and feathers everywhere.
Get to it, Fletcher. I'm starting to itch.
Well, I'd rather not do that, especially as I know you. History means something to me. We both know your boss has got deep pockets, and I'm going to give him the motivation to dig them out for me.
What are you talking about?
Fletcher leans forward into the light, and for the first time, his face is revealed.
Give me 20 million British pounds, and I'll give you everything I've got. Money, memory records, contact sheets, recordings, the lot. You could just carry on as before.
Hold on. We just went from 100 to £50,000 to 20 million. That's a steep raise in 30 seconds.
You're lucky. That's nothing compared to what I should be asking.
Thank God you're not greedy, Fletcher. You diluted shit-eating cunt.
I love it when you talk dirty, Petey, sweetie. I can feel myself engorging. This scotch is good. I looked it up. Apped it. 1,500 quid. I didn't even know you could spend that much on a bottle of scotch. I could get used to this.
And I said get on with it.
All right. I'm going to tell you a story and demonstrate my quote is my quote. I want you to play a game with me, Pete.
I don't want to play a game.
Bang. Fletcher slams his hand down hard on the table and his mood changes.
So play a fucking game with me, Pete.
He can see he's going to have to play.
All right. I want you to imagine a character, a dramatic character, like in a book, a play, or a film, but not digital, not a memory stick, analog, chemical process. Keep the old grain in the picture, I say. Old school, 35 mil, seeing this through a lens I am. And I want you to join me on this theatrical journey because it's his theatre, Pete. Beautiful, beautiful theatre. Now, roll camera, end of stage left. Our protagonist, good looking, gorgeous, golden age, proper handsome cunt, Mickey Adam. Unique background as our Mickey, American born, Rhodes Scholar, born clever but poor. Never finished his studies, never went home because he found his vocation, not a vocation, bad boy. He started dealing the dirty wonder weed to his rich, privileged, upper caste uni pals. Realized he was good at it. Wasn't tethered to the rules of convention, rules of English class, each man in his little old box. Oh no, not our American friend. He was clear and objective without ambition. He could surf the echelons of our complicated culture and he was good at it, fucking good at it. And who doesn't like a film star more at the table? Cracking jokes, tickling your misses, glamour of the old world and the new class versus the old. What a fucking combo. Lethal, devastating. No one knew what hit them. He knew how to take advantage of his advantage. And he was a hungry animal, powerful and ruthless, cunning and quick, charismatic and smart. Where he went, others followed. A magnificent beast, but he had to do some nasty things to get where he got, establish his authority. Show he wasn't just teeth, tits, and tan, you know? He wasn't fucking hollow. Turns out he got an engine under his hood and a gun in his holster. Mickey's not exactly clean, is he? Coming up the hard way, he earned his position. Needless to say, it's worked out all well for him and all things desirable to his mind, body, and wallet.
Good lord, Fletcher. You're in the wrong job, mate. If you got the story to tell, go to fucking Hollywood, pal. Me, I'm going to bed.
No, you're not, Pete. No, you're not. You're coming on this ride with me, mate. Back to Mickey as the plot begins to thicken. He's reached a crossroads in his life. Middle class, middle age is starting to get to him, corrupted his appetite for the horrors. He's gone soft, and it's hard to survive in the jungle if you're soft.
These last two lines of dialogue crossfade into the interior of a pub, London, day. Michael Adam, 40s, our protagonist, sits at a table having a pint of beer and a pickled egg. He is lost in thought. The pub is otherwise empty. The camera gradually tracks in as Michael thinks.
There are certain things you can't be ambiguous about in life. You can't have pull out in traffic. You can't have jump off a cliff. And in this game, you can't be half in. When it's time to go, it's time to go. Because doubt causes chaos.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, later. Fletcher pours himself a refill of whiskey. But so far, Posh Pete hasn't touched his.
So now we've established the dilemma of our protagonist. Let's turn to our antagonist. Many miles away, across the open plains, another feral beast makes its way to a watering hole.
What are you talking about now?
I'm talking about Dry Eye. Chinese, Japanese, Pekingese, get on your fucking knees, dirty dragon. Filth, yellow is the color. Gambling is the game. I know he's a friend of yours, Pete. You must have smelled his participation like a lost takeaway stuck behind the sofa. But a Kung Fu Manchu in the Yankee explodes on the scene like a millennial firework.
Interior somewhere, Dry Eye bursts into holding a hand cannon at his waist, shouting and spitting, looking fresh from a field battle.
Suck on these chibi motherfuckers!
He unloads the gun, spraying everywhere. Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, later.
Stop right there, Fletcher. That doesn't sound like Dry Eye. The Dry Eye I know.
Just making sure you're paying attention, Petey. Cut to an anticlimactic shot of a calmer looking Dry Eye.
Exterior docks somewhere, evening. Dry Eye, in his 40s. A Chinese gangster is with his crew in an empty flatbed truck. One of the crew is Fuck, 30s. They're all dressed as dock workers. Gok, a Chinese security guard, ushers them in. Dry Eye gets out and the truck drives through. Dry Eye hands Gok an envelope, which he quickly pockets. Dry Eye is led to a container. Inside are scores of very scared-looking people, refugees that have been trafficked. Dry Eye is unmoved by what he sees.
We'll deal with this later. Sam's bringing the truck separately.
Oh, thought you were here too.
Slam! Dry Eye closes the container again to gasps and pleas inside. Dry Eye grabs Gok's clipboard and scours his lists.
Show me inside these two.
I can, but they're on the manifest, so you can't take them.
Show me anyway. Knock? Or not. There's a good
Knock.
lad. Ah,
I think it's knock.
Okay.
oh, knock. Show me anyway, knock. There's a good lad.
Dry Eye is shown inside a container full of engines and gearboxes. He shakes his head. Dry Eye is shown inside another container. It is floor to ceiling with rims, flash exhausts, and other tuning parts.
That's more like it.
Yeah, but as I said, can't take it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm taking it, but don't make me. Make you give it to me. Just let me take it.
You don't understand. It's not like that. It's on the manifest. Just can't disappear. It's accountable.
Oh, so I've got to steal it and steal your money.
No, but this is my job, man. I can't.
Fuck stands forward and produces a spring-loaded baton.
Give me the container.
Dry Eye's crew load the container onto a truck. Dry Eye hops into the cab of the truck and it drives away with the container on the back. Knock closes the gates behind them, a broken man. Back to the interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, later.
Let's put a pin in that for a moment and let's get back to Mickey. He's been cultivating a special relationship with the erudite, broad, and learned Matthew Berger.
Pete reacts.
That's right. I know about the Jewish billionaire cowboy and all. Another slice of Americana creating more drama in Angleterre. Jealous of his predecessor's success, a peripheral ex-colleague spiked by all that glitters.
Exterior Lord Pressfield's house, day. A shooting party. Michael is with his wife, Rosalind, 30s. The other side of Michael is the Jewish-American billionaire Matthew in his 40s. He's accompanied by his wife, Jackie, 30s. On the shoot are a collection of wealthy-looking guests.
Boys, bar mitzvah go well?
Fabulous.
Who'd you get to sing?
You'll never guess. I told him you can have whoever you want as long as it's Sting.
Oh, wonderful. I love Sting.
Not as much as my Jackie. That's all she ever talks about. And as soon as she saw him, she froze to the spot, shit herself.
Don't believe a word of it. He was the one who couldn't sleep for 2 nights.
What can you do? He's an icon. I got a nice picture. Here, have a look.
She pulls his phone out.
Ooh, hasn't he got a head of hair?
Nice skin too.
All that tantric yoga.
What numbers did you get?
Roxanne,
That was the police.
Fields of Gold, Englishman in New York, all the hits. Wasted on the kids, of course. They didn't know who the fuck he was. Ooh, I like an Englishman. You know I like this country. I like the culture. I can see why you stayed. I feel it's wasted on the Brits. Do you know 40% of the world's significant inventions came from this small, damp island?
Well, I'm not sure if that's true, but I do know they invented class.
The only thing missing is New World Drive, as my old friend Ralph Lauren would say. Think Yiddish, dress British. On that note, I'm sorry to be a bore, ladies.
Yes, why don't you two fuck off and let us talk about something important?
Matthew and Michael walk off.
I'm impressed with what you've done with your enterprise. I want to buy it. You see, try as I might, I can't work out how you do it. And weed is my game. How does anyone grow 50 tons of super skunk without letting anyone else know how they do it?
I'm flattered to hear that from you, Matthew. I imagine that big brain of yours has been sweating a steam of tears trying to work it out.
Exterior Lord's Land, day. Michael and Matthew are walking towards a prefab dairy farm shed with a porta-cabin inside.
Run the numbers by me again.
100 million gross PA, 50 million net. But your man Mark knows this. He's rinsed the figures for months. The bottom line is I'll sell it to you for 250 million.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, later.
Now, I can't be specific about the heroes and the zeros, but there's a lot of money hanging in the balance. What would it be worth to have the power to pull the plug on an operation like that, huh? A greedy man would want half the sale price, but a smart man recognizes 20 million pounds just about uncomfortable enough to make everyone feel comfortable.
You're a cunning little toad, Fletcher. Coming up with an idea like this.
Oh, it wasn't me that came up with the idea. It was Big Dave. He commissioned me to do a job on Mickey. Sniff about, keep an eye on him, go through his bins, find his sins and all that. Dave wants to ruin your boss, but I'm here to do you a favor. I've learned off you lot. Got to look after number one. So now's my time. Sun's not going up for me, Pete. It's going down.
Interior newspaper office day. Dave, the editor in his 50s, paces the room. His captive audience are Richard Jenkins, 40s, a senior journalist, and Fletcher.
Mickey Adam.
Who's Mickey Adam?
I'll tell you who he is, Fletcher. He's an odious Yankee gangster who, no, actually, you're going to tell me who he is, and then we're going to bury him. But he's got a new friend, Lord Pressfield.
The Lord Pressfield.
Once fourth in line for the throne. Anyway, Mickey Adam has squeaked his way into the crack of his posh fat arse. And Pressfield's daughter, the famous and talented Lilo, is full of self-hate and harm and has fallen in with that Power Noel's smart, smacked out dark charm. And I want the lot of them, especially that slippery little jamrag Adam in bed with a skint discredited Toff, supplying gear to young and reckless rock star royals unbridled by distracted parents too busy skiing in the Swiss Alps and too fucking stupid to care.
I like it, boss. You're good at this.
Shut up, Jenkins. I know what I'm good at. Aristocratic, bulimic, junkie, auto-tune singing daughter shacked up with some smackhead once upon a time pop star. All looked after by Mickey Adam. I like it. I like it a lot. Drugs, American greed, mockneys and cockneys, celebs and fashion.
Brilliant. Big Dave looks across the office with mad eyes.
I wait to hear from you, Fletcher.
Richard leaves, but Fletcher lingers.
What is it?
Just remember who you're talking to, Dave.
I remember, Fletcher. Don't worry about that.
So make sure the check's not disappointing.
Fletcher leaves. Interior Posh Pete's house dining room later.
Why has Big Dave got in for me and my boss?
People are funny, sensitive creatures, Posh Pete. And it seems Big Dave is no exception. 2 months ago, your man Mickey made my man Dave look like a right fucking idiot.
How?
Didn't accept his hand.
In marriage?
Snubbed him in front of a crowd that Big Dave could only wish he belonged to. Lords, ladies, type your Mickey feels very comfortable in front of. Well, Mickey might as well have put a gun in Dave's mouth or chopped his balls off. World just fell in on herself.
Interior, the stately home, night. Black tie dinner. Flashback scene of Michael meeting Big Dave for the first time. Big Dave is flanked by lords and ladies.
Was that me? Am I Lord Snowball, or who was that?
I'm Lord Fletcher. Oh no, Pressfield. I'm Pressfield. Yep.
David, have you met the talented Mr. Adam?
Big Dave is ready to meet Michael. He clears his throat and leans in with his hand outstretched.
Allow me to introduce myself. David Roberts, editor of the news.
Michael isn't impressed with this introduction.
Keep up the good work, David.
Michael turns his back and Dave is left hanging, with his hand still outstretched.
I do believe that was a fuck off, David. Never mind.
Interior of Posh Pete's house dining room later.
That's no reason to go all felon.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Pete. Dave's ego has its own postal code. If he wants his blood, he'd have it. And if it weren't for me, he would.
Exterior of Lord's Land, night.
If it's as discreet and as inconspicuous as you claim it is, I'll buy the whole business. But I don't do time wasting, Michael.
I've gone to great lengths to make my operation as invisible as possible, Matthew. If you were standing on my gear, you wouldn't know it. In fact, you are standing on my gear.
Matthew looks down. Michael checks his watch.
Follow me.
Interior, skunk farm, moments later. Off darkness, one by one, rows and rows of overhead lamps switch on via a timer to reveal an endless, elaborate underground skunk farm full of the greenest, stickiest super skunk. Matthew walks along and takes a plant and smells it.
England's green and pleasant land. Fuck the dog, Michael. This'll do.
And at night, Mickey sealed the deal. Or did he?
Interior of Posh Pete's house dining room.
Fletcher, you can practice your pitch to the newspaper all you want, but it won't help you any. You're a filthy fantasist, and it's time to leave.
I've just been lubing you up, sugar tits. Now comes a tip.
Fletcher clears his throat and stands. His monologue that follows will partly be illustrated via montage.
There's a reason why Matthew, or anyone else for that matter, couldn't work out how Mickey does what he does, how he grows 50 tons of White Widow super cheese every year. Everyone knows that takes a lot of space. So where's the space? How come he's kept it under wraps? You can't just dig a hole in the ground and drop 200 shipping containers in. No, mate, that's not going to work.
Exterior, Lord's Land, night. Michael is with Matthew.
The problem with the land in this country isn't there isn't a lot of it. There's public access even when it's supposed to be private. And the public have rights. Dog walkers, footpaths, right to roam, twitchers, badger lovers, bimblers, ramblers, and any other busy fucker who's got nothing better to do than sniff around the green tweed of England. They've all got groups, forums, meetings, social media, and they'll love a chat and a hiss about anybody that decides to mow his lawn without a license. You got helicopters, drones, and Google Earth, parish councils, heritage sites. The beat goes on. And that's before you even start looking at getting power there.
Exterior, countryside montage, day. Ramblers in the right of the way signs. Exterior, countryside montage. Bird watchers watch birds. Parish council meetings. The countryside protest meeting point montage. Protests. Countryside drone footage. Countryside helicopter footage. Posh Pete's house, though, later. Dining room at night. Fletcher is still on his feet as Pete listens.
Now you've got to be creative. You need an angle if you want to work in bulk. So what's Mickey's unique method? Oh, it's genius. I took my hat at the cheek, the elegance to class.
And what exactly would that method be?
You don't think I know, do you?
Interior of the skunk farm, night. The speech continues, but Michael picks up where Fletcher left off, explaining how it all works to Matthew.
You gotta understand a culture to understand a man. My poison of choice are the landed gentry. You gotta work these things to your advantage. One man's mousetrap is another man's free cheese and a challenge. The culture you love so much, Matthew, is where I've laid my eggs. Yes, that's right, toffs, aristocrats, lords, ladies, dukes, and duchesses. Lots of land and fuck all dough. Big houses to keep, damp to keep out, and silver to polish. Cash is very persuasive to the class that got spanked by death duties and angry lefties, and they're not too bothered about what I do. Unlike the wandering public who own nothing but a big nose that sniffs where it shouldn't. 12 sides. Do you know how long it takes to secure one of these country piles? Protect it, develop it, feed it, and its owner? Years. Many years. Nice to get a lord, not easy. Takes work, wine, women, and disco. You can't overdo it. They scare easily, this lot. 12 farms and 1,000 of these estates in the UK. Good luck anyone trying to find them all. But that's it, my infrastructure. It's my blessing. That is what you're paying for, Matthew.
The montage will make clear that the weed is grown underground on the estates of the English aristocracy. Exterior country house montage, the posh houses. Polishing the silver. Digging skunk farm and containers montage. The posh club, whining and dining. Back to the interior of the skunk farm at night.
That all sounds great, but as we know, growing is only 50% of the business. How do you distribute it all? What about your European connections and your legal infrastructure?
That comes later, Matthew, when we close the deal.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, later. Fletcher rolling a cigarette.
See, why I'm asking for 20 big ones now, I've only gone and bloody well cracked it.
Posh Pete points to the cigarette.
If you're thinking of smoking that in here, then don't.
Don't what? Don't think or don't smoke?
Fletcher lights the cigarette. Then Posh Pete jumps up and chases Fletcher out the back door. Interior of Rosalind's garage, day. There are numerous good-looking women working on the floor of this garage. In fact, there are very few men in the gaff. This is Rosalind's business, a facility for pimping cars. Rosalind is busy making her team and charming customers. She approaches one of her mechanics and leans in for a word.
Where's Roger? He's meant to have that finished range. We've got little Miss Permatan shaking her silicones over there.
Rosalind nods to a particularly orange-looking woman in her 20s, pouting in reception. She's taking a selfie on her phone.
Dunno, boss. He said he had a personal matter to take care of.
Interior of the garage back office, continuous. Michael is with Roger the Dodger, 40s, the Cockney mechanic Rosalind is looking for. Roger takes a lug on the huge reefer.
I know you like lower THC and higher CBD levels, Dodge, but all we keep getting asked is to increase the THC. Kids these days want to trip, not fly. Stuff gives me a headache just being in the same room. Don't you know?
That's you, Travis.
Oh, years getting stronger. You can't stand still, Mickey.
We're not about strength, Dodge. We're about the quality. So what do you think?
Roger takes another lug.
Nice. Very nice. Don't like seeing things that aren't there when I puff anyway. This psychosis issue with the youth is real. My nephew had a problem with the paratroopers. Keeps seeing things, scary things, hallucinations. He's having conversations with himself,
We're all having conversations with ourselves, Roger.
but not out loud, Mickey.
Well, if he's got a predisposition to mental health problems, Raj, I suggest he puts the wicked weed of the West down and leave the Paris behind.
Can't leave the pairs behind once they're airborne. Vicious bastards trained to kill. Shrinks have been trying to put them back on the plane of madness for years.
Well, it begs the question, who's mad and who's sane? We all know some people can drink, some people can't. Some people should drink more, some people should drink less. Same with the puff game. And some people can earn money, some people can spend it. In fact, money's killed more people than puff, but I can't see them making that illegal anytime soon. Hello, Roz.
Rosalind bursts in, wafting the smoke cloud away as she enters.
I should have known it was you behind this. Roger's supposed to be working the floor. You're blowing his brains out in here.
Roger stands to attention.
I'm on it, boss.
Wanna be?
Sorry, love. My fault. Don't blame the dog. And you know he's got a special nose. He's doing this old dog a favor.
Dog, get out of here and earn your money.
Gone.
He exits.
Put the kettle on.
He does, and she opens a window to waft the smoke out.
What you doing here anyway?
I want to chat with my wife.
Well, go on then. Chat.
I've had enough.
What of? Me? Life?
The game. Got used to the safe life, to middle age, and I like it. I like luxury coffee and fine wine, private schools, and gentrification.
So you want to call it a day?
I think I do.
I don't want you knocking around here feeling all unemployed and lost with yourself.
Most wives would beg their other halves to get out of this game, but not you.
That's because I know you, darling. Idle hands make for a miserable cunt.
Is that a biblical saying? We can buy that farm you've always wanted, have our own cows and chickens.
Have you got a buyer?
My new American friend.
Has he got the money?
I think so.
Now, to do this elegantly, love. If anyone sniffs out weakness, it'll be expensive. And if you smell smoke, it's because there's a fire. You're going to have to stamp that out quickly without any clarification or gentrification.
I can smell the sniffing.
But not you, love. Don't you do anything messy. That's why you've got people.
I love you, babe. Any chance,
He raises his eyebrows.
You can wait. I got the bubble tits out here to deal with now.
I don't mind the parody.
Come on, piss off.
Michael finishes his tea and puts the mug down. Exterior of Posh Pete's house patio, night. Posh Pete picks up his whiskey as they stand by a hot sausage outdoor heater barbecue.
Why are you wasting my time? I know what's happened in my world, and that doesn't. I still fail to recognize why Michael should be motivated to write you a check for 20 million.
Call you impatient, Pete. I'm a storyteller. As they say in the film game, I'm laying pipe.
I love that line. Oh, you better do something through it and do it soon.
Fletcher stares at the hot sausage.
Is that barbecue as well?
Yes, it does, Machan.
I love a barbie. That's a clever bit of plant. Eats and cooks. You got to tell me where to get one of those.
You can take it with you if you leave now.
Any chance of a steak?
Yeah, all right. Got a bit of Wagyu in the freezer, as it happens.
I never had Wagyu.
It'll be wasted on you, but it's all I've got.
I'll get them.
No, it's all right. I will.
Posh Pete shuffles off into the garage as we go with him, or the garage. He talks to himself as he goes to the open and upright chest freezer and pulls out the steaks.
How does he know all this?
Just before he shuts the lid again, we the human remains. We see the human remains of a man we will come to know as Aslan. Interior Rosalind's garage evening. Rosalind is on the shop floor with dry eye, but the place is empty now. He's showing her a picture on his phone of the container full of car parts he stole.
So I thought of you. Obviously, it's right up your alleyway. Haven't even looked through it all yet. Just want a quick sale. Send it out. The greasy pipe. You get me?
Not really dry, no. How much you want for it?
Whole lot. It's probably 100 grand RRP total load.
How much?
10 G's and a small favor.
Talk to me.
I want a meeting with your husband.
Fuck off. That's not going to happen.
I tell you, it's in his interest. Just a quickie.
I can't promise anything.
Interior of Lord Pressfield's pile day. Michael sits with a cup of tea. Across the room from him are Lord and Lady Pressfield, both in their 50s, who have an ornate tea set by their side. Family photos on the mantelpiece show happier times, including some of their daughter Rachel in her 20s. Lady Pressfield is holding it together as Lord Pressfield looks red-eyed.
Perhaps that's part of the problem. We wrapped her in cotton wool.
But she was our little lychee.
Charlie called her that because she couldn't stay Rachel at first.
I miss her terribly, Ricky. I failed as a father, especially given what happened to her grandfather.
What did happen to her grandfather?
He died of an overdose. You mustn't keep beating yourself up, dear.
I can only imagine how you're both feeling, but Anne's right. You mustn't blame yourselves. Sounds like Rachel fell in with the wrong crowd at an age when she was particularly vulnerable. All we can try and do is bring her back safely to you. Teach them about the periodic table at school, they do, but not the challenge of the temptations from class. As.
So you'll help us?
Let me see what I can do.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Interior of Michael's car later. Posh Pete drives Michael home. They listen to Rachel's music for a bit.
Yeah, Rachel. Nice girl. Good voice. Did she fall in with the bad luck?
Been asked to find her. Bring her home.
Pete reacts.
You know the deal, Pete. Help them out. They help us out. You know?
I thought that's why you paid them, so you don't have to do favors.
What's the problem, Pete?
I don't like it's the moving part. I don't like too many moving parts, boss. It's junkies. It's feral. It's constable. It's out of our jurisdiction. Things we can't control. And you know the deep goes unpunished.
That may well be the case, Pete, but you're still doing it. You know? London.
I think Walter might be
Alright.
frozen.
There she is.
I'd say London.
Damn you, internet.
Is it slow? Or...
London.
Hang on a sec. I'm gonna pause it for a sec while we figure out what's going on with Walter. Resume.
The Yeah Rachel line, right?
Yes. And welcome back to Quarantine Theater. Michael's car later. Posh Pete drives Michael home. They listen to Rachel's music for a bit.
Yeah, Rachel. Nice girl. Good voice. Didn't she fall in with the bad lot?
Been asked to find her, bring her home.
Pete reacts.
Mm.
Know the deal, Pete. Help them out, they help us out.
I thought that was why you paid them, so they don't have to do you favors.
What's the problem, Pete?
I don't like it. Too many moving parts, boss. It's junkies. It's feral kids, console estates. It will be out of our jurisdiction. Things we can control. And you know no good deed goes unpunished.
That may be well. That may well be the case, Pete, but you're still doing it.
All right. Any ideas where she is?
London.
8 million people, boss. It's a big place.
Not in that world, it isn't. She's got some boyfriend. Power Noel. He's no good.
I like this mug here. Power, singer, as well, wasn't he? Teeny sort of punk, funk, funk, pop.
Yeah, that's the kid.
Mm. What's the poison?
H. Dirty. It's your job.
I hate smackies. Can't you give it to someone else?
No.
All right. I'll get on it.
Exterior of Posh Pete's house patio night. Posh Pete's fired the barbecue up, and the steaks fizz as he puts them on.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get back to Dry Eye. He got his little sit down with Mickey, didn't he? Bold plan coming in heavy, sanctioned or unsanctioned. Maybe he's making moves, breaking out on his own. Big man plans behind Lord George's back. To be fair, nicely played with 100 grams of essentially free car parts. And we all know the way to a man's heart is through his wife.
Interior pub day. Michael and Posh Pete sit drinking tea. In walk Dry and Fook, 30s. Dry Eye's right-hand man. They exchange nods and Posh Pete gives them both a pat down. Fook is reluctant and stares at Pete throughout this.
Who's your friend?
Thank you for taking time to see me, Michael. But Lord George,
I only took this meeting because Ross asked me. Don't ever approach her like that again.
I meant no disrespect.
How can I help?
I understand you're getting out.
Michael looks around waiting for more.
Getting out? Getting out of what? Bed? The closet? My head? Don't flirt with me, Dry. I'm a busy man.
I hear you're getting out of the game, and I would like you to consider an offer.
I'm gonna have to stop you right there, young man. Before you waste any more of your precious breath, this isn't a discussion for the two of us. Unlike the salt and pepper, it's not on the table, pal.
Dry Eye opens his phone, types in a number, and pushes it across the table. Michael looks at it.
Cash.
Michael pulls a face and looks to Posh Pete.
Listen, I'm not for sale, but even if I was, you're several zeros away. You must be able to buy your man sausage for that, but to me, it just looks rude at breakfast.
Dry Eye flares up.
You're out of touch. You're forgetting the laws of the jungle. Looking down on me when the silver's back get more silver than back. He best move on before he gets moved on. It's not dignified. It's beneath you, Michael. You have a good name. Keep it that way. I am trying to do you a favor. This is a significant amount of money.
Michael stares at Dry Eye, pulls his handgun out, and under the table, bang, bang, shoots Dry Eye's kneecaps, who screams and writhes in agony.
Eyes not looking so dry now, are they? Hurts, does it? That's nothing, pal. Thin end of the wedge.
Michael turns the gun on Fook, and boom! Just as he fires, and we see the muzzle flash. Freeze frame.
I'm surprised nothing happened given Michael's history.
Interior of the pub day continuous. Back to the reality. Michael smiles with a wry smile, and Dry Eye has a mad look in his unblinking eyes. Michael pours another cup of tea.
That was me 20 years ago, but not anymore. Getting older, wiser. I don't rise that easily, but still can't be seen to show weakness.
In Posh Pete's house dining room night, Fletcher sits opposite Posh Pete at the table.
You're wrong, Fletcher. That's not how Michael works.
I was only having a bit of fun. Every movie's got a bit of action, and it's not like Mickey doesn't have a reputation.
So,
So he's all about diplomacy nowadays.
Interior of the pub day, back to reality. Michaels takes a sip of tea, pinky finger extended.
I know how you lot like fables, so let me share one with you. There was once a young and foolish dragon that came to ask a wise and cunning lion if he would surrender his territory. The lion wasn't interested, told the dragon to fuck off. The dragon, in all his brainlessness, couldn't understand what that meant, and he repeated his desire for the lion's territory. So the lion took the sad little dragon for a walk and put 5 bullets in his tiny dragon head. End of story. Apparently there's a lesson in there somewhere, Dry Eye. Not sure I understood it, but you're a clever boy. Maybe you can explain it to me.
Michael stares down, dry-eyed. Dry Eye's mind is racing. He is about to speak, but just as he opens his mouth, Michael jumps in.
Shh. Just marinate on it.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, night.
Ooh, I bet Mickey was glad he took that meeting.
Into the interior of the pub, moments later. Dry and Fook are out the door.
that went well then.
Don't ever put me in a room with him again.
Interior chip shop, Liverpool, day. A freshly battered fish gets lowered into hot oil. It bubbles and fizzes. Coach, in his 30s, an Irish scouser, stands on the counter wearing glasses, a tracksuit, and flip-flops. 4 youths, late teens, early 20s, come in looking shifty. Coach doesn't look around but catches their reflections in the glass and metal on the counter. Maureen, in her 30s or 40s, the waitress, is behind the counter serving him.
Pass the vinegar, Maureen. Why does it smell of wee in here?
Maureen puts the vinegar on the counter. She turns to the youths who linger over his shoulder, sniffs the air.
Don't stand near me, son. You got your mouthwash muddled up with cat piss. Take 2 steps back and wait in the corner.
Fuck off, old man, or I'll wet ya.
The only thing you'll wet is your pants. Now back 2 steps.
A blade comes out from Kid 1. The coach slaps it away quick as you like. Spang! It disappears over the counter.
If you're gonna stab, stab. Don't dance.
The 4 of them spread out around Coach, getting ready to fight, which makes him smile. His confidence is throwing theirs. He loves this.
What are you? Like a 4 Tops tribute act or summit? The 4 skins, the Redskins. Whoa, whoa, here come the Indians. Bit of Northern Soul, is it? Putting the Gay and Marvin Gaye. I'm on fire over here, lads. I need some back and forth. What do you got for me? What do you got for me? Make it quick. Make it funny.
Fuck you.
Coach looks disappointed.
No, not that. Too much time on a PlayStation. Not enough time with your head in the game. Go again. Gotta be sharp. Caught me with it.
Kid 3 lunges at him with a knife, and in the blink of an eye, Coach sidesteps him, picks up the vinegar, squirts it in the Kid 3's eyes. Bam! Follows through and elbows the kid in the face, knocking him down. Smack. He punches the next one in the throat with his other hand, and whack! Kicks another in the bollocks. Wallop. The remaining one walks straight into the full slap across the ear, sends him flying and his ears ringing.
You're embarrassing yourselves, lads.
He gets in the face of Kid 3.
Kids stab, girls shoot, boys punch, grown-ups fight with their heads, son. That's where the battle is, up here. Wake up, lads. Life's quick, you're slow, and time's hard on a bone top. Come down to the gym, we'll see what you can do with yous.
Hang on. Are you the coach?
Clearly, this means something to the lads. There's a sort of awe that comes with the name Coach.
Yeah, lads, I'm the coach.
The chip shop phone rings and Maureen goes to answer it. Do we have a Maureen?
I believe so. Maureen?
Coach, it's Benny.
She hands the phone to Coach, cross-cut between him and Benny, 20s, a member of the baby squad.
Rung the bell here, coach. Bell's in the back of the net, and we're gonna include you because you're our mentor.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Vinny, but I don't like the sound of it.
We've landed a load of skunk emola.
Coach, for the first time, is serious.
Listen to me now, Benny. Walk away.
Too late. We're outside. Yours is now in the van.
You took my van? Don't move. I'll be there in 10.
Interior gymnasium day. Coach comes flying through the doors as Hannibal is moving plastic bins full of skunk through the gym. Hannibal looks like he's been in an almighty fight.
Where's Ernie?
In the office?
What happened to your face?
Norton?
Coach turns to see Mal lying on the sofa in a lot of pain as he clutches his leg. Coach steams into Hannibal and starts slapping about the head. Hannibal cowers even though he's bigger than Coach.
Don't lie to me, Hannibal, you animal. Don't you dare.
Interior, the gym office, continuous. Prime Time, in his 20s, sits at his edit station with a YouTube type interface on screen. Prime Time has a cut eye and fat lip, plus his knuckles are red and swollen. It is clear that Prime Time is very tech savvy. He has numerous computers, monitors, cameras, phones, and a mixing desk and other equipment set up to assist in his media activities. He is watching his own work. The camera footage of the skunk raid that he filmed on his GoPro type camera and edited in with film and music. The views count on the screen climbs quickly each time that Prime Time refreshes the page. Coach comes in. Doesn't take more than a few seconds for him to twig what Prime Time is watching.
You don't know what you've done. Take it down now.
Who's Prime Time?
I believe that's Walter.
Wow. So am I? But Coach, I only just put it up.
Take it down.
Coach kicks Prime Time and slaps him too. Prime Time looks sheepish as Coach gets in close and eyeballs him.
This is my fault. I shouldn't have trusted you.
Don't be like that, Coach.
Coach grabs the laptop, slams it shut, and then hurls it across the room so it smashes against the wall.
I knew you weren't ready.
Just then, Benny walks in holding his tablet with the same footage playing. He's beaming, but also looks battle-scarred. Ernie?
That's Carol.
Sorry, lost my page.
36, bottom of 35.
I like Taryn in this. Cheers, Prime Time. The lighting was just right.
Exterior, loads snowballs land, evening. Primetime skunk farm raid video. This is in the film Primetime uploaded onto the internet. It has been cut in the style of a promo video shown at live UFC events with a banging music soundtrack driving it along. In point of view, via headcam, we see some landmarks, road signs, distinctive topography, filmed from a window out the back of a van as it drives onto the country estate. The final sign reads, "Private property, no right of way." Primetime in his 20s, again, is wearing the headcam. He turns back to face the other baby squad members in the van, Ernie, Benny, Hannibal, and Mal, who's driving. They're all wearing lucha libre wrestling masks and carrying guns.
Let's go, 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 baby squad.
They get out the van. Interior of the porta cabin moments later. Via the point of view headcam, we get an idea of how big the operation this is by looking at the security systems they disable. Primetime approaches the digital keypad and attaches a computerized homemade device to it, a number combination generator. After the device scans through combinations at rapid speed, the correct digital code is displayed on screen, and a trapdoor on the floor of the porta cabin opens up to reveal a staircase leading underground. Primetime smiles as they file down. In the interior of an underground skunk farm room, moments later, the baby squad arrive at the room. The other side of the door are some weed packers, 20s through 30s, moving large amounts of weed about, packing it onto crates. Hannibal turns to Ernie.
So much for the place being empty.
Primetime sets up a GoPro camera on top of a filing cabinet and presses record. The baby squad give each other the thumbs up, and then Hannibal gives us hand signal countdown. 3, 2, 1, and they burst into the room.
Get down on the floor. Get down. Get down.
The Packers look surprised and slowly put their hands up.
Let's start moving it out.
Suddenly, a door opens and in walk 4 security guards who look of equal size and handiness as the baby squad. In a flash, their weapons are drawn and they are circling around the baby squad, who in turn are pointing their guns at them. A Mexican standoff with lots of shouting. Hannibal sizes up the guards.
If you fancy yourselves lads, put the guns down and let's have it like men.
Are you sure? Hannibal lowers his gun, and so does his opponent. Then all the men put their weapons to one side. They start limbering up, getting ready to fight. From nowhere, Mal comes running in, rugby tackles a guard, and a mass brawl erupts.
Are you getting all this?
Primetime nods. The fist fight between the baby squad and the security guards that follows is huge. They keep getting knocked down and keep getting back up again. It's an epic battle. Mal is the only serious casualty and gets a nasty leg stamp that takes him out of action. Once victory is complete, the baby squad can't believe the size of their haul, as one door leads to another, and behind each is a forest of skunk. Primetime runs the length of the containers with his camera, revealing the sheer size and scale of the farm. The film also includes post-fights interviews with the baby squad.
They fought well, weren't just men of muscle. They put up a good show, you know.
Obviously, I'm gutted to pick up the injury, but it's about the team winning. So I'm glad the boys came through, and I'll just rest up and come back twice as hard the next fight. I've got to thank the coach. Without him, we wouldn't be anywhere we are today. We owe him everything, really.
More interviews follow with the baby squad honoring the coach. Interior Michael's home night. Posh Pete carries a laptop over to Michael, who's sitting by the fire with Rosalind.
Sorry to bother you both, but there's something you need to see.
What is it, Pete?
Not good, boss. Not good at all.
Posh Pete hands Michael the laptop and presses play. He picks the film up where it left off previously, with Primetime running the length of the containers.
It's only been up a few hours. Fraser mate found it. I'll play it from the beginning.
Posh Pete goes to scrub back on the timeline and the video freezes. Refreshes the page and the screen reads, "This video has been removed by YouTube."
Where'd it go?
Oh,
Posh Pete takes the laptop back and tries to refresh it.
it's been deleted.
Interior Posh Pete's house, dining room night. Fletcher's back on the groove again with his story. He's animated and on his feet.
Like your little dysfunction, it went down as quickly as it went up.
So there's no proof the film even existed then.
Depends whether someone was sharp enough to screen grab something like that as they were watching it.
What do you know about screen grabbing, Fletcher?
Don't patronize me, Petey. I'm a PI, it's my game. I know about IT more than a spotty 14-year-old. E-gaming super geek. Everything I watch is recorded.
Interior Fletcher's house, night. Fletcher sits in darkness, lit only by the light from his computer screen, as he watches a moving blue bar on screen finish doing what it's doing. Then a movie file opens full screen. Fletcher presses play, and Primetime's film starts up again. Fletcher grins. Interior of Michael's home, night. A security guard from the fight with the baby squad stands before Michael, Posh Pete, and Rosalind. His face is a mess. I got to say, though, I was impressed. I mean, the way they fought. They were on point, Governor. Who's training them knows what he's doing.
Whose side are you on?
I'm just saying.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Pete shows the guard out the door. When he comes back in, Michael looks troubled.
No sooner do I reject Dry's offer to buy me out and then one of the farms gets raided?
First time ever.
Doesn't feel like a coincidence.
Of course it's not a coincidence. Coincidences don't exist. There's fuckery afoot.
How did they find out?
Leave it
How'd
with
they
me,
find
boss.
me?
Leave it with me, boss. I'll make some inquiries.
What about Matthew? He's going to need reassuring before he parts with the 250 big ones.
He might not hear about it.
Babe,
If I was him and I got wind of this, I'd be out the door.
you'll soon find out if he's got wind of it.
It's the last thing I need now. I just want my money. I just want out.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, night. Fletcher's pacing the floor.
So many questions unanswered, Petey. I mean, who'd be smart enough to find one of Mickey's farms? Apart from me, of course. And who'd be bold enough to make such a move? Especially to film the whole thing and post it online. Because that is really rubbing your face in it.
Posh Pete is not smiling. Interior of Annabelle's Club, London, day. Matthew and Jackie walk across the club, displaying a profound appreciation for the quality of everything about the establishment. Michael and Rosalind sit with Matthew and Jackie for lunch.
These London clubs are really something, you know, Michael. Don't get anything like this back home. Gone all casual, sneakers and shorts, tech billionaires from the West Coast. Good round an algorithm, but clumsy fucking monkeys when it comes to a look. Got to have a jacket and tie here, though, keeping up with old world standards. Oh, I like that. A profound respect for hard-earned culture. Case in point.
Matthew stops the well-dressed waiter that's passing.
Excuse me, young man. Can I?
Telling, not asking, he starts to manhandle the waiter's jacket.
Wonderful fabric. Even the waiter's wearing velvet. You look like a movie star. Good work. Carry on. A prince among men. You carry on.
He puts a couple of 50-pound notes in his pocket.
Thank you, sir.
Matthew hands Michael a little gift box, which Michael takes and opens. Inside is an inscribed Derringer-type handgun. The inscription along the barrel reads, "Hands across the sea."
What is this?
It's a paperweight.
Looks like a gun, Matthew.
And it's a paperweight.
Does it work?
As a paperweight or a gun?
The latter.
I should think so, but that's not the point.
Michael looks at the gun, bemused.
Sort of is the point. At least in this country, they're illegal.
So is riding a bicycle without lights, but laws are there as a guideline.
An intelligent man should know right from wrong. What's silly? What's smart?
Do you wait at a red signal at 3 a.m?
What's that got to do with anything?
Just saying.
Go to prison for 5 years for possession of a handgun.
Matthew and Jackie laugh.
It's a paperweight.
Well, let's straighten that one out, officer. You're very kind. I like it.
Of course you like it. It's solid gold. I'm here to help, Michael. I'm your friend, your ally. Santa Claus for all seasons. And I'd like you to know my team of elves can be very persuasive.
Persuasive. Why would I need persuasive?
I hear you might have had a little trouble. Now, you helped me before when my source ran dry. So I'm just returning the favor and reminding you, I have persuasive friends.
Elves, you said.
No trouble over here, Matthew, old boy. I think you've got me muddled up with Mr. Confused.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, night.
Matthew was forced out of the game back home when it turned legal. He had camps all over California. Did very nicely out of them, but it's hard to compete with the legal corporate army. Big pharmaceuticals formidable when it comes to competition. He didn't stand a chance. Moved from state to state like a Romanian gypsy as the law chased him. He had so much cash on the move, feds would confiscate tens of millions of his lovely green dollars at a time. They give him a ticket and tell him to return when a court date was set. Of course, never got set.
Interior of Annabelle's Club, London, day. Matthew notices a female waiter serving and feels the material of her coat with his other hand.
Is that what I think it is? A cashmere silk mix.
Yes, sir, it is.
Unbelievable. It's like having tea with the royal family. Can you get us a Bellini, please, my lovely? Use the real peach juice.
There is no other peach juice, sir. Consider it in the post.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, night.
Anyway, Matthew came here to the old country, slipped all his remaining cash over with him. His ancestors were over here, Eastern European, Azenakis, whatever. His great grandfather did very well because he's a survivor.
In Animals Club, London Day.
I'm a survivor, Michael, like my family. And I like my friends to survive with me. Just let me know if there's anything I can do.
He gestures to the handgun.
Hands across the sea.
I'm a survivor too, Matthew. How else do you think I made it over here? In the jungle, the only way a lion survives is by letting everyone know it's his jungle.
Matthew smiles. Back in Posh Pete's house, dining room, later.
Story, always muted. So, that's all well and nice, but the whining and dining is easy. Anyone can do that, but someone has to do the real work. Someone gets to get their hands dirty. And this is where you put your moment in, isn't it, Petey? This is where you step on stage and start letting the dominoes fall.
Meaning?
No good deed goes unpunished. Knock, knock, Pete.
Fletcher knocks on the table. Back in the den, London Day, a knock at the front door. A group of drug addicts, the heroin den, a group of drug addicts, Power Noel, late 30s, Rachel Pressfield, 20s, and a Russian lad named Aslan are relatively sober at the moment, but Power is preparing to shoot up. A weaselly, feral-looking man, Brown, in his 40s, comes in from outside where the balcony is missing. He smokes the last of his cigarette and crosses the room to go into the hall. A Rottweiler barks by the front door, so he keeps it under control. He cautiously opens up, putting the door on the chain.
Yeah.
Posh Pete and Bunny, 40s, a fridge of a man and one of Michael's crew stand on the other side. Posh Pete smiles and Bunny attempts a smile.
I am Posh Pete. Can we come in for a moment, please?
Help you, officers?
We're not the police. I just need a moment of your time. It's about Rachel Pressfield.
I don't know who you're talking about.
It's a family matter. I would be much appreciated if I could come inside, please.
Brown shuts the door in their faces. Posh Pete nods to Bunny, who produces a battering ram and swings. Interior of the Range Rover and the exterior of the H-Den, London Day. Fraser sits in silence. He's bored and gets out of the car. Interior of the Heroin Den, London Day. Aslan, Power, and Rachel are surprised to see Posh Pete and Bunny follow Brown in. Power is already on his feet.
What's going on here, Brown? Who are this lot?
No need to get all excited, young man. We'll be gone in a few minutes.
You'll be gone before then. Get out now.
Posh Pete clearly isn't going anywhere.
I can be dangerous if I want to be. I won't tell you again.
Sit down, Power, before you get yourself in more trouble.
How do you know my name? He knows my fucking name.
I can tell you by the way you move.
He looks at Bunny, who clicks his fingers in rhythm.
I can tell by the way you groove.
Power's not happy and steps forward.
That was 20 years ago, you
Slap. Posh Pete gives Power a backhander, which dumps him on his backside on the sofa.
Swear again, and I'll hurt you, Power. Understand?
Power isn't in shock and nods.
You're not a dog, Power, as hard as you're trying to be one. Now, use your words. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
I suggest you change your name. Nobody's going to take you seriously with a moniker like Power. Now, just so we're clear, I work for a man, a powerful man.
Michael Adam.
Who's Michael Atom?
Friend of her father's, runs the London pub game, big dick swinger.
Right. But I wouldn't want him to hear what you're saying, that you're saying that. And it's been the best for you, what he apparently does for a living after we depart. Your father asks us to bring you home, Rachel.
Who are you?
This is getting boring and repetitive, Power. Now, This can go on for two ways. Well, more than 2 ways. But I'm giving you 2 options. Mind if I sit down?
Posh Pete gestures to Brown as he sits next to him.
Pass us those papers, will you, lad? And the puff and some bassing.
Brown hands them all over. Posh Pete starts rolling a joint, tears a bit of card off the paper packet to make a roach. Over the course of his speech, he finishes crafting his joint and sparks up.
I don't build a joint like the Americans and the new school. Backstrapping, jockstrapping, vaping, all that. I like a good old-fashioned 50-50 mix me. That's the way we used to play. Why? Did you know a lot? Why did you love to get addicted to HA? Why not shopping, gambling, exercise, or making money? Fucking H. Is there one drug you should not chase? It's a dirty dragon. You ever give it a spin, Bunny?
No, not me, Pete. I don't even puff anymore.
Of course not. Bunny likes the gym. But you can probably see that. What are you doing on the bench press these days?
3 wheels aside,
Fuck. 120.
plus the bar.
How many reps?
On a Monday, straight 10.
What about you, Brown?
Brown's confused.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You couldn't lift a wheel of cheese, you cunt. Anyway, if you want to be naughty, what's wrong with a little smoke and a poke and a glass of wine, some berry wine, candles found a bath, and put your finger in the missus?
Who's Barry White?
Big black geezer, sexy voice.
I'm lost. Am I in the bout with Barry White's finger and me missus?
Shut up, Brown, and listen to what you're missing. If you're unhappy, you should share your thoughts with your friends, nice friends. But nah, you all chose squalor, drowning in your liberal white guilt.
What am I guilty of?
Being a cunt, Brown. Being a cunt. Anyway, I'm not your shrink, just trying to radiate some positive vibes, man to man. That's what the Puff game used to be all about. Rastafari, one love, smiley culture. You feel me? Now, Ray, you ready to turn corner? Open the curtains and let the light in? Do your mom and dad a favor. Try the impossible and make yourself happy.
All right.
Posh Pete surprised it was that easy.
Great.
He gets to his feet.
Bunny, will you help Rachel get her things together?
It's okay. I don't really have anything.
Bunny goes to escort Rachel out.
You bitch.
You're like a wild animal, Power. We don't speak to women like that.
I'll call you.
Posh Pete spins around to face Power.
No, she won't. I'll see you again. I'll iron you the fuck out. It's over for you, Power. Am I clear?
Rachel leaves with Bunny, and slam, the door closes behind them. The dog starts barking again. Power makes a run for the door, so Posh Pete gives him a slap across the chops again. Smack! As Aslan leaps to Power's defense, and the fight ensues. Eventually, Posh Pete gets free from Aslan and shoves him hard with both hands. It sends him staggering back towards the outdoor area, but he trips, loses his footing, and falls right off the edge of the building where the balcony is missing. Posh Pete doesn't notice as he turns back to face Power and Brown, but their jaws have dropped. Exterior of the stairwell day. Bunny and Rachel are heading downstairs and don't see Aslan's body fly past them. The exterior of the H-Den in London. Fraser is leaning against his car when splat! Aslan's body smashes on the floor next to him, spraying him in blood. He's speechless, and he looks at what's left of Aslan. In the distance, click, 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 click. Fletcher and his private investigator snaps away on his camera. Interior of Rosalind's office, day. Michael and Rosalind are having a cup of tea as Michael looks at the gun in the box.
He was offering his help, but what he really was saying was he wants a reduction in price. He was implying you're losing control of.
Nah, great.
Michael puts the gift box with the gun in it on Rosalind's desk.
Even though it's illegal.
It's a paperweight, babe.
I did tell you, if anyone knows you're on the way out, they'll take advantage. But you'll have to do something about it. You didn't know about the farm?
It was on the internet.
How some feral bunch of scousers found their way into your extremely well-hidden facility.
That's a mystery I'm trying to solve, love.
Posh Pete knocks on the door and enters.
Hope I'm not interrupting. Rachel Pressfield's been returned home safely.
Good. Evening all right? Everything all right?
Shame about her. She's a good kid.
Something happened, Pete. Can hear it in your voice.
One of her associates had an accident.
Pete, I gave this to you because you're an adult.
He threw himself off a balcony. Nothing I can do, boss.
Sounds like an extreme accident.
Well, yeah, more like a death, really.
The exterior of the H-Den day. Fraser runs over as 3 youths on bicycles approach the scene. 2 of the youths pull out mobile phones. Put the phone away, lads. They ignore him and start taking pictures anyway. Give me them phones. Fraser grabs one of the phones, but the youth tries to grab it back. Fraser pushes him to the ground.
Oh, give it back.
The other youth starts filming the scene just as Posh Pete, Bunny, and Rachel walk out of the building. Bunny gets straight into action and grabs the filming youth off his bicycle. The third kicks out. Phone falls to the floor. Rachel sees the body and reacts. Posh Pete grabs her to calm her down. The recording phone is picked up by the third youth on bicycle, and all 3 youths break away in different directions. Posh Pete pushes Rachel into Fraser.
Put her in the car.
Posh Pete charges off after the youth running. Bunny pursues the youth on a bicycle. Fraser bundles Rachel into the car. She is in shock. He opens the trunk and goes back to get the body. Interior of Rosalind's office day.
That's right, my script just jumped down. So you killed someone.
Leave this with me, babe. I'm asking the questions. I'm asking.
He's a junkie. They're killing themselves anyway. You just accelerate the process.
Don't get smart, Pete.
Who was he?
Some Russian kid with tracks on his arms.
Exterior Council Estate day. Posh Pete charges after the youth, but he's fast and turns mid-sprint to give Posh Pete the wanker sign. Then charges gears and he's away. Around the corner, Posh Pete runs into the youth, but his gang are there waiting for him. 3 of them pull out blades. One waves a baseball bat.
Easy. I just want the phone. No need to get all excited. I'm not carrying a weapon.
What? This phone, how much?
100 quid.
5.
Just give the phone, son. And here's a bag to walk away.
Tell you what, mate. Why don't you get a phone and the bag?
This is why I'm not gonna give you my phone or the bag.
Posh Pete pulls out a Tech 9 fully automatic handgun out and rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat. He gives it a full quick squirt in the air.
Now, one at a time, put your phones on the floor.
Suddenly, Fraser's car tears onto the scene, knocking 2 of the youths over on the front of the bonnet. Fraser jumps out covered in blood, gun in hand. Bang! He fires a shot into the air, then shoves the gun into the youth's face. People shout and scurry off. It's chaos. Interior of Rosalind's office day.
Russian kid. That don't sound good. You don't get poor Russians over here.
Hey, did anyone see you?
It was a console estate with half a dozen street rats. Not the type of tale the old bill.
Interior of the car and the exterior of the council estate. Fraser drives with a baseball bat and 3 knives on his lap. Rachel's in the passenger seat, blood everywhere. Posh Pete's in the back, hanging out the window, and Aslan's body is stuffed in the boot.
There, over there.
Ahead, we see Bunny running after the youth on the bicycle. Interior, back in Rosalind's office. Day.
It doesn't look like he'll be missed. And as I said, it was our fault. Don't worry.
Nothing makes me worry like some blah telling me not to worry. What's fault got to do with it? That's not good enough. What have you done with the body?
Listen, boss, I'm good at what I do. But when someone jumps out of a window, mopping it becomes complicated. I said I dealt with it.
Exterior of the street and the council estate. Bunny chases the last youth on his bicycle. As the Range Rover overtakes Bunny and without stopping, Posh Pete leans out the window, pulls the youth off his bicycle, and in through the window. Screech! The Range Rover slams to a stop. From inside, punches are thrown, just as Bunny, out of breath, gets to the car. The side door opens and the youth falls to the ground. Bunny drags him aside and jumps in. The Range Rover pulls off and stops about 20 yards ahead. The door opens and the knives and baseball bat are hurled out the window. They drive off. In the distance, click, 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 the sound of Fletcher, the private investigator, still taking photographing everything. Back in Rosalind's office, daytime.
I don't like this, Pete. They'll be fooled by who those junkie kids look. They want to go to good schools. They have parents with money. This is now a situation.
Sorry, boss, but right now we're in the business of trying to sell your business. And you've got me doing favors for your posh mates, saving junkies and cleaning up bodies. I feel like we're losing focus.
You've got to get control, darling.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, night.
Oh, but you told Mickey nothing about what happened.
You're fishing, Fletcher, because you have no idea.
Oh, really?
Fletcher produces some photos of the events that unfolded and leaves them with Posh Pete.
Just going for a slash.
He gets up to go to the bathroom. Peter notices the Fletcher is still wearing his shoes.
Oi, Fletcher, shoes off inside. Leave them by the door.
Fletcher pulls a face, then slips his shoes off and leaves them by the back door before heading to the bathroom. Interior, gym, night. Coach and Ernie are ringside as members of the baby squad and other punters train.
I think we've been set up, Coach.
What's his name, Ernie? The geezer that gave you the address of the skunk farm.
Fook.
Coach reacts.
No, that's his name. Fook. Like Fook, but with a PH.
Don't get all straight with me, Ernie. Where does he live?
The posh part of Croydon.
There isn't a posh part of Croydon.
It's comparative, ain't it?
Don't comparative me, Ernie.
Primetime heads over.
All right, Coach.
Good.
Oi, Ernie, what are you doing? Why aren't you training, you black cunt? I'm in here.
Primetime goes again.
Did he just call me a black cunt?
Yes, he did, Ernie.
He can't do that. That's racist.
But you are black and you are a cunt. Those are facts. I don't think Primetime cares what color you are.
But the fact I'm black has nothing to do with the fact I'm a cunt.
Well, he didn't say black people are cunts, Ernie. He was being specific to you. One thing has nothing to do with the other. Unless I'm mistaken, I go further. It was a term of familiar affection.
But Primetime's a gypsy and I wouldn't go around calling him a pikey cunt.
Why not? He might be understanding, as long as it's coming from a place of love. Now, get back to the issue at hand. I need Fox's address.
I'll have it by the morning, Coach. And I do have some good news. I found out whose skunk we nicked.
Just tell me his name wasn't Mickey Adam.
Pause while it's clear that it is.
Blimey, Coach, you a gypsy too, reading tea leaves? Got a crystal ball? How'd you know that?
Coach shakes his head and gets ready to go.
That's not good news, Ernie. Michael Adam is a terrible news in the shadow of a violent and expensive debt.
Interior of Lord Snowball's pile, day. Michael sits alone. Lord Snowball, 70s, enters a room. A funny-faced looking chap and racing snake thin. Michael stands to shake the Lord's hand.
Mickey, a bit nippy in here today.
Didn't think you lot felt the cold.
Lord Snowball builds a fire.
I'd like to apologize for putting you in this predicament in the first place.
Give me a sec. What page is that? My script just went below me.
Page 60.
60?
Written 60.
Gosh. One sec. You needed to put thank you. I've done very nicely out of our arrangement. Should I be scared?
I don't think so, but I like to lean on the side of caution.
What does that mean?
It means I'm not going to have to close shop, shut it all down, make it disappear. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything. It's all in hand. But you might see a few trucks over the next couple of days, and the paint is being shared.
I somehow feel me losing out of £1 million commission a year is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. But it's been a good run nonetheless.
It is going to hurt me, Henry. The stolen product, the loss of earnings meantime, the cost of closing down, and the cost of setting up elsewhere. This place will be a retired mushroom farm by the end of the week.
Funny, really. But it couldn't be worse timing. I've just learned that we need a whole new roof, apparently.
As I say, I'm as upset by this as you. I'll take care of the roof.
I must say, Michael, you're a gentleman. Has anyone else been hit?
Just you.
Just my luck. Shall I get Lawrence to bring us some tea?
No thanks. Got work to do.
As Michael gets up to leave, he notices a framed photo of Lord Snowball surrounded by a shoot party. In amongst the guests is Matthew, which catches his attention. Lord Snowball joins him.
Matthew, I see you know it.
Yes, he's a bloody good laugh. Loves a drink too.
When was he here?
He's been shooting with us for years.
But when was he last here?
A couple of months ago. Why?
I didn't know he liked to shoot.
Exterior of Lord Snowball's land day. A vehicle approaches in the distance. It's Michael's Range Rover. He is being driven by Fraser. Michael stares out the window, and they're gone. A moment later, and the bush moves. Then again. Cigarette smoke comes from it. Fletcher slowly walks out of the bushes with his camera. He's wearing excellent camouflage as he takes another pull on his cigarette and checks the photos he just took. There's one of Michael unknowingly scowling down the barrel. Fletcher zooms into it. Interior of the pub, day. Posh Pete sits waiting for the coach in a booth, who enters and comes straight over to the table. He places an ornate box on the table. Posh Pete looks at it, then notices Coach has a bandage where his little finger should be.
What's this? We're not Yakuza.
I want you to appreciate that I understand the gravity of the situation. The boys are naive. They've led hard lives, but they're just starting to come good. They're my lads, my responsibility. So it's me that should be accountable for their actions. I can return your goods, but I can't return the inconvenience, the time, or the headache. I can only imagine what a system like that brings in. But based on some rough calculations, I estimate it must be about 8 million a year. So I offer you my loyalty, my time, and until we pay off the debt. But I'll do my best to clean this up, but please leave my lads alone.
Find out who's responsible for this little trick, and we'll talk further.
I can do better than that.
Exterior, the side street, day. Coach pops the boot of his car and inside, bound and gagged, is Fuck.
His name's Fock, like Fock, but with a PH, so it's Fock. It's him who gave us the skunk farm job, you know him?
We met in the past, haven't we, Fuck?
Fuck is struggling and turning a funny color, so Coach leans into the boot.
Don't say anything stupid now, son.
Coach tears off the gag from Fuck's mouth and he breathes heavily.
How did you know the location? Did you guys hear me? How did you know the location?
Who's Fuck?
Oh, who's Fuck?
Who the fuck is Fock?
Fuck. What is the
What's he
location?
Fuck?
I don't think he can breathe. He has asthma.
Ann said in the chat, can someone cover fuck? I need my inhaler.
And I need you to tell me how you knew where the farm was located.
Dry's had me trailing you for the last 6 months. It's only a matter of time. Fuck seems like he's hyperventilating. I can't breathe. I'm serious, please. I need air. Coach is 2 minds but relents, pulls Fuck out of the trunk and cuts the tape binding his leg so he can stand up properly. Fuck continues breathing heavily, but suddenly he sprints off. He raises his bound hands above his head and thrusts them down past his hips in one swift movement, tearing the tape and freeing his hands. He sprints towards the railings at the end of the street and in front of him as Posh Pete and Coach watch. Fuck gets to the railings, put both hands on them.
No, don't.
He leaps, swings his legs over, and disappears. Posh Pete and Coach run over to discover a 30-foot drop to the other side of the railings. Fuck is dead, laying on the floor below in a pool of blood.
Not again.
Interior of Michael's home. Day. Posh Pete is on the phone to Michael.
There's a pattern emerging here, Pete.
Another accident. Sorry, boss.
Who's Fuck anyway?
Dry Eyes man.
You mean Lord George's man?
Couldn't just be his Dry Eyes doing?
Bit bold for Dry Eye, unless he's gone solo.
In which case, it is Lord George then.
Leave this one with me, Pete. Run out of room in your freezer.
Interior of a Chinese restaurant, London. Day. Lord George is watching the Chinese horse racing whilst drinking a nice cup of tea out the pot. On screen, the racing starts to look a bit wobbly. Michael enters, with Fraser and Bunny behind him carrying Fuck's body in a rug. They dump it on the floor and go.
Is Anne back?
Do I recognize that rug?
Yes, belongs to you. And so does what's in it. Your eyes will go square with all that TV.
Mickey, how did you get in here?
I use the door, your lordship. What are you watching?
Lord George is uneasy. He looks about but can't see anyone to help him.
It's the race, you live satellite, my only vice.
Not sure if that's strictly true, is it?
Meaning?
Meaning the last time I looked up what vice meant, it said, any immoral or wicked behavior or criminal activities which involve prostitution, pornography, drugs, or some such. No, I'd say racing is not your only vice, Lord George. I'd say you're balls deep in every vice known to man. You're the walking personification of vice. Even tea, that too is a vice. Caffeine's a drug, don't you know?
I don't think of it quite like that.
But it's exactly like that, George. A long time ago, a bunch of likely lads, white bread, rednecks, wheelo, cracker types who looked a bit like me, jumped on a boat, nipped across the sea seeking fame and fortune, and they visited a little place called China.
Michael notices George's eyes are rolling.
These guys found a leaf, naughty little leaf, a bit like the one you and I found, only this one tasted better in a pot of hot water. Tea. Those little Guilo Ghostface Ewan grabbers filled their little leather Guilo Ghostface boots and brought it back home, which fueled the expansion of the British Empire, the glory days. There was no sunset for the tea set. They were at it like us, George. Within a few years, the whole country was drinking the leaf. Social rituals appeared, teapots, spoons, strainers, and ceremony. You see, the empire saw the market, so they greeted the market. But that little leaf you called a way of life, drink for pleasure, has caused as many deaths as religious ideologies.
George looks like he's getting the horrors now. He's hallucinating badly. He's seeing images of axe-wielding demons, the Dali-esque melting walls and melting furniture, as well as Michael's face and voice transmogrifying as he talks.
What have you done to me, Michael?
Everyone tries to jump on the black wagon of profit, though, don't they? Can't help themselves. Chinese pirates, Jamaican vagabonds, any smuggler with $1 in his collar, all trying to undermine the market which threatens the empire.
George is continuing to experience disturbing hallucinations, which we all see as well.
Why are you giving me this lecture, Michael? There's no bad blood between us.
Don't think you could have your little Boston Tea Party without me coming back at you, George. That's not how the empire works.
Michael waves his hand in front of George's face. They look huge and twisted.
You listening? Paying attention?
George copies Michael's hand gesture. He's somewhere else completely.
Why did you start a war with me?
War? What war? What are you talking about? What have you done to my head, Michael?
You're seeing ugly things now, but they only reflect the inner workings of your dark and greedy mind.
How long is this going to go on for, Mickey?
Don't Mickey Mouse me if I Lord George you Mr. Adam me. You're in for 2 days of hallucinogenic hell, or you could be there for a lifetime. After this, your brains might be better spent as scrambled eggs. You'll be locked up in a nut house within a week, tortured with the horrors. But I can stop all that.
Just tell me how.
George attempts to stand, but his legs have gone, and he slumps back in his chair. He is in a terrible state, as naked dwarves appear with horned heads, pouring blood from a cock and balls teapot. Michael pours a little bottle of pills and takes 2 out.
Take these 2 fizzy biscuits and you'll be right as rain in an hour. Just long enough for you to consider your past indiscretion. Oh, I nearly forgot. Don't ever send your man Dry Eye around again either. Trying to buy my business for a few beans. I don't know what you're thinking. He's your dog. Keep him on a lead.
George has no idea what Michael means, but watches as he pops the pills into a glass of water and it fizzes up. Michael hands it to George.
Don't forget this lesson, George. I can get to you whenever I so choose. As demonstrated by that angry little teapot you'll never touch again. So from now on, your lordship, please don't fuck about with my market because the Empire will strike back.
Animation sequence. Animation VFX of Lord George's hallucinations. Interior of Posh Pete's house. Dining room. Night. Fraser and Bunny are carrying Aslan's frozen body through Posh Pete's house, wrapped in a towel and tarp, when Fletcher steps out of the bathroom, zipping up his trousers. Fraser and Bunny stop in their tracks and look at Fletcher. Then Posh Pete arrives, and they all look at each other.
There a problem there, Pete?
Posh Pete looks at Fletcher.
I don't know. Is there a problem here?
No problem here. I just wash my hands.
Fletcher goes back into the bathroom.
Next time, call first.
Sure, Pete.
Later. They take the body out. Interior of the stylish bar, like Claridge's evening. Michael and Rosalind are enjoying a candlelit meal together.
I don't like where this is all going. I don't know if I've got the appetite for it or the horrors that await.
Pull yourself together and sort it out.
Thanks, babe. I like a shoulder to sniff on.
You didn't marry a shoulder, you married me.
I'm scared of all this.
Oh, be scared. No shame in that. And don't worry about me. I can look after myself.
We've got enough money. Shall we just drop the mic and moonwalk?
It's not about the money. It's about the effort. It's about the struggle against comfort, safety, and mediocrity.
Is it?
You know the story about the businessman and the fisherman?
I don't know, do I?
A businessman on holiday asks a local fisherman about his day. The fisherman says, I sleep late, fish a little, and in the evenings I drink with my friends. I do what I like. The businessman says, you should fish longer every day, sell the extra fish and buy a bigger boat. Then you can expand and buy a fleet of boats, and so then you can list your business in the stock market and make millions. Millions? Really? Then what? Well, then you can do what you like. You mean I could sleep late, fish a little, and in the evenings I could drink with my pals?
So what's your point? What's the point of making an effort?
No, Michael, that's exactly not my point.
You lost me, babe.
The metaphorical fisherman didn't get on the journey, Michael. He didn't play the game. He didn't get he didn't get layered, complicated, experience, tested, kicked about, knocked down, and then pick himself back up again. He didn't win because he didn't lose, because he didn't have the balls to play in the first place. He took the path of least resistance. The fisherman remains on the sidelines, spectating, judging, living vicariously through other people like you, reading the news instead of being the news. You're a superstar. That's why I married you and didn't marry a fucking fisherman.
He leans in and kisses her.
There's a reason I married you too.
Stay in the saddle and get in the right price.
Exterior, the Towpath Chinese floating restaurant, day. Lord George and Dry Eye walk together. Lord George's bodyguard is away behind them.
I wasn't involved in Michael Adams' skunk farm raid.
So you're telling me Fuck did this behind your back?
Well, let's put it this way. He didn't do it in front of it. It didn't have my blessing.
But you did go behind my back and make Michael a derisory offer in his business.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Which part of that question don't you understand? The question? Let me warn you now, Dry Eye. Think before you answer and don't be in a rush and don't make a mistake that you cannot come back from. I repeat, did you raid Michael Adams' farm?
No.
Did you approach him to buy his business?
Yes, I did, without approval. An opportunity arose, so I thought it's best to feel him out, and it didn't want to waste your time with it, unless I thought it was real.
We both know you're not in a position to do that.
Give me a break. I'm not a monkey. I'm your biggest earner right now.
You could have had a career, Dry Eye.
Fuck you, you old cunt. I'll piss on your grave.
Lord George's eyes fill with hate and he turns to the security guard and nods. The security guard whips out his silenced pistol, but instead of pointing it at Dry Eye, shoots at Lord George in the head and he drops down dead. Dry Eye looks at the lifeless Lord George as blood spreads out on the floor, then unzips his trousers. Interior, Posh Pete's house, dining room, night. Fletcher comes back from the bathroom.
Hands clean. Hands clean.
Sorry about that. Yes.
73.
Yeah, I like that liquid soap. Very posh. Gardenias, isn't it? Now I know there's some details I don't know about. Something between Dry Eye and Lord George. Well, whatever it was, someone killed Lord George. And anyone else might think it was you or Mickey. But now, let's continue with the plot.
Fletcher drops a photograph on the table of Dry Eye and Matthew together at Arsenal's stadium bar. Posh Pete is surprised.
Attention, cop.
So Dry Eye and Matthew know each other. So what?
They could have just been meeting to discuss holidaying in the Maldives and long-term implications of leaving the EU. But I filmed them, had it lip-read, transcribed, and translated. Just like the classic 1974 film The Conversation starring Gene Hackman and John Cazale. Coppola squeezed that one out in between the Godfathers. It was wasn't boring. Wasn't for me, bit boring. But not like our little plot, is it? We're just warming up. Oh, that's Matthew's quite something, isn't he? Not your average American. He's international, even speaks a bit of Cantonese.
He drops the transcriptions on the table and pulls out a tablet with grainy, long lens footage of Dry Eye in discussion with Matthew.
Right. You play Dry Eye. I'll be Matthew.
Interior, Emirates Stadium, day. Fletcher presses play and they start reading the lines overdubbed. The two men speak on the screen.
There was
Isn't an incident. Lord George didn't come through.
So technically, you're supposed to be speaking Cantonese right now, and Posh Pete is supposed to be speaking.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm the
well.
one reading-
Yeah, Travis, speak Cantonese, will you?
Yeah, come on,
Well.
Travis. You know Cantonese, right?
So many people, so many questions. I mean, wow. Do I get paid overtime? I don't know how to speak Cantonese, but I still look pretty.
So, I know. Okay, wait, hang on. For this scene, Carol and Travis, you guys should turn your cameras on, but not have your mics on. And so just be like talking like da, 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 da. So it'll be like, the Japanese overdub movies. And so like we'll be talking though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that.
All right.
Fletcher presses play and they start reading the lines, overdubbing the two men speaking on screen.
There was an incident. Lord George did not come through it.
Didn't come through it. The last thing we need to attract is any octopus.
Posh Pete stops the video.
Octopus? What does that mean? It's not a very good translation.
There's nothing wrong with the translation. Matthew's just not that fluent. It's Cantonese. Go with it. Fill in the blanks.
Fletcher presses play again.
Don't worry. It's all on Michael. He's to blame.
That isn't a smart move.
Don't tell me what a smart move is.
I beg for your pardon.
You heard me perfectly well. There will be no repercussions for Michael's actions. End of.
You think you're running things, do you? Don't stroke my mouth hair.
What? Mouse hair?
I think it means don't jeopardize my deal, but I admit that one's a bit of a curveball.
The two men on screen walk out of view for a moment, then come back into view. Dry Eye looks a bit angry.
Clearly, Matthew loses it a bit here and his translation goes out the window. He bangs on about pink trees and springtime, and I think what he meant is he's clearly upset, and Dry Eye understood what he was saying.
Interior of Emirates Stadium, Dry Eye lets Matthew have it in Cantonese.
English version. Listen to me, John Wayne. This is how it's going to play out. You're going to back the fuck off, and I'm going to take the lot. You're not on home turf here. It's my soil, not yours. Times have changed. Circumstances have changed, and you need to show me some respect.
Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, night. Fletcher puts the tablet away.
That's it, sorry, show's over. But it's clear they're not just mahjong partners, aren't they?
Not much of that was clear, Fletcher. But according to you, we already know Matthew wants to buy Michael out. So why is this news?
Don't you worry about that. We'll get to the news.
Exterior of Lord George's funeral cemetery, day. A group of mourners, all dressed in black, walk away from the funeral. Dry Eye gets in the car with an old man.
Is your hearing aid on?
Do we? I don't think we have an old man. Kit
Yes.
Soren, can you do that?
Dry Eye, I trust you'll make Michael Adam pay for this. You are the dragon head now. Solidify your position.
It'll be done, Uncle.
The old man looks Dry Eye in the eyes. Exterior pub, London, day. Michael walks into the pub on his own, hiding across the room. Click, click, click. Fletcher is taking photos of Michael. Round the corner, a car pulls up away from Michael's car with two men inside. Posh Pete sits in the driver's seat of Michael's car on his phone. Inside the pub, we pick up with Michael where he started at the beginning of the film, scene 2. He's in the pub waiting at the bar to be served. He puts a coin in the jukebox and plays a cool tune.
I'll have a pint and a picked egg, please, Bob.
Yes, boss.
Michael's served by the barman and takes his pint and egg over to the table and sits down. He makes a phone call.
Matthew, it's Michael. We need a meet. Great.
He hangs up and dials again.
All right, babe. Is it date night tonight?
Interior of Rosalind's office, day. Cross-cut between Michael and Rosalind sitting at her desk in her office.
No, Thursday. Why?
I was thinking we should go to the River Cafe this evening to discuss poetry.
Pick me up at 7.
She's about to hang up when Dry Eye walks into her office with a guard.
Hello, Dry. What do you want?
Hang up.
I don't want to.
Rosalind catches a glimpse of the guard's gun in his shoulder holster as he moves.
I said, hang up.
Hey, what's going on?
Rosalind hangs up.
Babe.
Michael works out what's going on. Bang! A gunshot and blood sprays into Michael's pint and across the table. Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, night.
Ooh, it's warming up now. So at this point, I'm guessing you didn't even know Lord George was dead yet, let alone what Dry Eye was up to.
Posh Pete doesn't say anything. Interior of the pub, Michael stands next to his bloodied pint and egg on the table. One of the men we saw pull up in a car outside before lays dead on the floor with a gun by his side. Posh Pete stands next to Michael with his pistol still drawn.
Thanks, Pete.
Boss, keep calm. There's one more.
Where'd you come from?
Back door.
Posh Pete points to the main door, then signals to the barman to get down. In the interior and exterior of the pub, the second assassin is looking to come in the front door. He approaches slowly and opens it up. He steps inside and sees his colleague face down in a pool of blood. He edges back out of the pub again and walks right into Posh Pete's gun as he and Michael are now outside. Bang! Posh Pete's gunshot rings out. Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room, night.
Now, I'm not sure what happened next because you two managed to give me the slip.
You were there.
Of course I was. Anyway, like I said, not sure what happened next, but my guess Mickey saved his missus from something bad happening because Dry Eye hadn't been seen since.
Interior of Michael's car, day. Michael is racing through traffic as Posh Pete hangs in on the passenger side.
Slow down, boss.
Michael speeds up and takes a wrong turn down a one-way street. He looks to have got a clear run, but narrowly avoids an oncoming car as they exit the road. Interior of Posh Pete's house, night.
But if Mickey can only rely on himself when trouble arises, it begs the question what he even pays you lot for.
In an alternate reality, interior of Rosalind's garage, Dry Eye and the guard bundle Rosalind in their car and speed away just as Michael comes tearing around the corner in his car. And boom! He crashes right into them all and airbags go off. Michael gets out to sprint to the garage, but stops when he sees Chinese men and Rosalind. He opens the door, grabs Rosalind out, then pulls out his pistol and bang, bang, bang! Shoots Dry Eye and the guard. Interior of Posh Pete's house, nighttime.
Nope. That definitely didn't happen.
So it did happen, Petey. When I arrived, I saw broken glass and oil on the road outside the garage.
It's a road. Nothing unusual about glass and oil being on roads. Cars drive on roads and cars collide. You can read something into everything, Fletcher.
Interior of Rosalind's garage, day. Rosalind sits opposite Dry Eye and his guard, Tony. Rosalind reaches for the gift box Michael was given by Matthew before.
Fancy a boiled sweet?
No.
She gestures to Tony, who shakes his head.
Suit yourself.
She opens the lid, concealing the Derringer gun from their view.
Rosalind, try not to be alarmed, but you're coming with me until I resolve my differences with your husband.
I'm not going anywhere.
Don't be like that. You know how this works. Either you come with me, or Tony here will make you come with me.
I'm not sure that's how it works at all. You're in my office under my roof. It's not your position for Tony to do anything other than to fuck off and out the aperture by which you came.
I see why Mickey married you. Tony.
Tony walks towards her with malign intent. Rosalind whips the gun out and Dry Eye laughs. Tony stops.
What the fuck is that? A paperweight?
Funny you should say that. Turns out anything with weight can be a paperweight.
Well, what are you gonna do with it?
Oh, that's up to you, isn't it? Either you do as I tell you and use the door, or I'm going to shoot Fat Tony right between the eyes. This gun's got only 2 bullets, so I'm not going to fuck about illustrating that it's real. You're going to have to trust me on that. The alternative is a little bit absolute.
You can't have a little bit absolute. That's an oxymoron.
Whatever the fuck it is, I've lost my patience. I'm warning you, I will squeeze this trigger and Tony will be no more.
Come on, Tony. I haven't got all day.
You lot are unbelievable. Have you not listened to a word I said? Listen to me, cunt. You take one more step toward it. Yeah, one more step forward. It will be the last fucking step you ever take.
Tony, get on with it.
Tony takes one more step forward and bang! Rosalind shoots him. Tony takes another 2 steps, then falls on the floor, dead. Dry Eye is frozen with fear for a second.
Now, are you going out feet or head first?
Okay. Calm down. I'm leaving.
Interior of Rosalind's garage. Roger the mechanic has heard the gunshot and is heading over, but Dry Eye strides past him on his way out. Exterior of Rosalind's garage. Dry Eye gets in his car and drives off just as Michael and Posh Pete drive around the corner. Michael sees Dry Eye and speeds up as he drives towards him. Smash! The cars collide head on and airbags go off. Michael and Posh Pete get out of their car and pull their guns on a dazed looking Dry Eye. Michael opens the car door and yanks Dry Eye out. Inside of or outside of Rosalind's garage, Roger drives a tow truck with a winch attached to the bumper of Michael's car. He pulls it into the garage and leaves it alongside Dry Eye's car. Posh Pete puts the dead body of the guard into the boot of Dry Eye's car. Michael wipes the fingerprints off the Derringer gun. The garage shutters comes down. From the outside, the place looks empty. The only traces of what happened is an oil spill on the ground and some broken glass. Fletcher crouches down and puts his finger in the oil to see how fresh it is. Interior of Posh Pete's house, dining room day.
And you're basing your whole crescendo on some broken glass and an oil patch?
No, Div, I'm basing my whole crescendo on the sum of its parts. A few minor details aside, I won't have any problems flogging this juicy peach of a drama to Big Dave. It writes itself.
So is the story over now, Fletcher?
All I want is your respect, Pete. Don't you see that? Well, that and my £20 million, of course.
You're too smart to be blackmailing us, Fletcher.
That's why I've taken precautionary measures. You could do all sorts of horrible things to me if you want, but you'll have to leave the country and never return. See, you're reading it all wrong. I'm here to help you, not hurt. I'm your pal, your savior, Jesus of Lambeth.
Do me a favor.
I was just about to do you a favor. All the build-up so far, was all leading to this next part. This is the news you were asking about before.
Posh Pete looks skeptical.
Matthew, he's going to need people here to run a business for him when he buys it off Michael, right? I mean, how's a fresh off his private's G650 American going to know all the subtle nuances of this game right away? He's not, so he'll need a reliable pair of hands, someone like you. So why didn't he ask you, Pete?
I don't know. None of my business.
Because Matthew already had someone else earmarked for that role, Dry Eye. He could see he was hungry, ready to step out of Lord George's shadow, young enough, ambitious enough, selfish enough. And whereas you're not far behind old Mickey in your middle-aged ways, are you? Chunky sweaters, sheepskin slippers, whatever.
You're a work of art, Fletcher.
Whatever. Anyway, point is, he promised Dry Eye the job, but only if Dry Eye helped drive down the price of Mickey's business. See, it was Matthew's idea to rob Mickey's skunk farm to cause ripples and reduce its market value. So that's why Fock, in turn, got those juice-swilling, acne-bag muscle marriage to do the job. Matthew saw this whole chain of events off, but he didn't plan on Dry Eye killing Lord George and becoming top boy, didn't he? Well, because what? Now, Dry Eye doesn't want to be subservient to Matthew anymore. In fact, he doesn't want to be subservient to anyone anymore. Lord of Jungle, what do? It's a hierarchy of the animal kingdom. Dry Eye likes the smell of power, and he doesn't like Matthew. And this, my friend, is why I earned my hard £20 million, because not only do I know exactly how Mickey's business operates, but I also know that the very man he's looking to sell it to is trying to force him into selling it on the cheap. And he's indirectly started a war. So you could call me the friendly consigliere, a spy behind the lines, intellectual reconnaissance, if you will.
A long pause as Posh Pete smiles.
You certainly know more than I do. I'm impressed by your information and imagination.
You got 72 hours, Pete, but let me reiterate, if anything happens to me, I have my insurance policy in place. All goes to Big Dave and in turn to the police, and you'll go to Mars. You can't threaten me, so save your breath for cooling your tea. Just pay up, watch me recede into the sunset. Don't ever threaten me, Petey. I'll leave these as a memento of our special evening together.
He slides the photos over of Dry Eye with Matthew.
Use the door, you black bastard.
I'm not black, Petey.
But your fucking soul is, you dark cunt. Now get out of my house. I want to go to bed.
Fletcher stands and necks the last of his scotch in a camp fashion, accompanied with a wink.
And I'll come with you.
No, you can go up and smoke your exhaust pipe in the back of your horse.
Peter watches Fletcher slip his shoes on before he heads for the door.
I'm coming anyway. You'll hear me scratching around in the dark. I'll repeat, 20 big ones. You'll see me back here in 72 hours, starting from now. Tick follows top.
Interior editor's office, the News HQ day. Big Dave ushers Richard Jenkins, a senior journalist, into his office. Big Dave shuts the door behind him.
Keep this between ourselves, but Fletcher's been in touch. Says he's got what we need.
Careful, boss. Fletcher's dangerous.
This sounds dangerous and devastating. He wants 150 grand, but if it's proper, it will be a whole week's exclusive.
What does he have exactly?
He wouldn't say much, just tickled my tummy. We're meeting on Saturday, so keep it free.
Exterior of the car park, London, day. Big Dave bowels along on the phone. He is in full swing.
News? Of course they don't want news. They want their pint of blood at breakfast, and we give them an alibi to drink it. We're in a blood sport, but we deal in internal bleeding, serious hemorrhaging of dignity. Hold on.
He's noticed a van parked in front of his car. The door opens and Ernie steps out with Prime Time, who has a GoPro camera strapped to his head, and he's recording.
Big Dave.
Who the fuck are you? And where's my driver?
And action, Ernie.
Primetime signals to Ernie, who is as wooden in his line delivery as any child to a nativity play.
Plans have changed, sir. I'm your driver now.
From Primetime's GoPro perspective, the next thing Big Dave knows, he's being lifted into the van. Tape is stuck over his mouth and a bag shoved over his head. The doors close. Big Dave's mobile stays on the tarmac. Interior farm, day. Big Dave is tied to a chair with the bag still over his head. The bag is removed. His cries are muffled with his mouth taped. As he gets his bearings, Coach steps into view.
Afternoon, Big Dave. I don't care if you scream. I just need you to listen.
Big Dave's muted shouts make his face turn scarlet. He rocks back and forth on the chair in a rage, but it isn't long before he topples to the floor, face down in mud and shit. Coach leans down.
I'm going to keep this brief, Big Dave. You know a man named Fletcher, don't you?
Big Dave stops fighting his situation to listen properly as Coach sits him back up.
You know Fletcher likes to play games, and you help him play these games. Anyway, someone whose reputation you're looking to destroy, well, his nature is the nature of protecting this reputation. Reputations have a habit of protecting themselves. He don't want any stories printed about him. Now, the easiest option is just to kill you. But instead, we're going to make a quick film, and you're going to be the star of this film. This time, you're going to be the star, Big Dave.
Coach stands Big Dave up and removes the tape from his mouth.
I don't have anything yet. Saturday. Fletcher said to meet him Saturday. He said he'll bring the full story in exchange for payment.
Right. And here's your $50, I believe. So if you don't have anything yet, I could just kill you then.
No, don't. Please, don't.
All right. Well, anyway, let me tell you about a film we'll be making. There used to be this show on TV a few years back called Horrible Things That Happen on a Farm, something like that. You know, people losing limbs, carrying them for miles, missing their tackle in combined harvesters, or getting impaled on hooks, that sort of thing. Well, sorts of nasties happen on farms, don't they? Anyway, this is a film we're going to be making. And as I said, Big Dave, you're going to be the star.
Big Dave looks terrified. Exterior of Posh Pete's house, day. Coach has a tablet in his hand as Posh Pete answers the door.
Here,
Coach hands the tablet to Posh Pete.
Press play.
He plays a film of Big Dave sobbing and promising not to release the story on Michael.
That's that you doing?
Aye.
He looks sufficiently scared. Good work.
Interior of the van, day. Coach gets in his van and sits alongside Primetime, who is driving. The rest of the baby squad, including Ernie, are in the back of the van. Coach is quiet and downbeat.
Everything all right, Coach?
No, Ernie, it isn't. You need to understand the severity of what you did here. I'm going to be tethered to Michael Adams' firm for the next 10 years.
The baby squad all look at each other as Coach looks out the window. Primetime starts the engine and Ernie taps his head. Exterior, Billingsgate Fish Market, day. Michael arrives at the market in his Range Rover. Rosalind is in the back with him, and they're being driven by one of the crew. Michael kisses Rosalind on the cheek.
Remember, get the price you want.
The market's heaving with traders as Michael gets out of the car. This is the cover for Michael's drug distribution operation. The product gets shifted out with the fresh fish as quickly as it comes in. Interior of the Billingsgate Fish Market. Matthew and Mark enter the packing plant with Michael waiting for them.
So this is where the magic happens.
Doesn't have to be clever and complicated. It just needs to be simple and work.
Nice. Who'd have thought? So you pack it with the kippers?
Something like that.
Michael leads them into a sub-level of the packing plant where the vacuum-sealed packs of marijuana are being packed with the fish. They walk through the plant towards a walk-in refrigerator.
This is fabulous, Michael. So are we ready to finalize the numbers?
We already have.
Sorry, that's Matthew.
Oh, the situation's changed, Michael. The market's changed.
Meaning?
Let me give you a metaphor. You mentioned a lion before. There was an old lion who was passing on his territory at a premium, and a new lion decided he wanted the territory, but it wasn't quite the promised land it used to be. The new lion understood that the old lion wanted to drift off to rest in the long grass, but if the new lion was going to take it over, it seemed the territory was now worth about half its original value.
Michael opens the walk-in refrigerator door to reveal Dry Eye, hands tied with Bunny next to him. Mark goes to pull his gun from behind him. Fraser appears, puts a bag over his head, and drags him out the room.
What have you done?
Well, Matthew, it's true. It seemed as though the old lion had got a bit fat, a bit slow, and he was a bit indulged. He thought the jungle wasn't quite the jungle anymore. But it was. He got diluted about that fact. This was the paradox of being rich and successful. There was no gentrification or PC culture in the jungle. The seed of destruction was in the fruit of his success. Anyway, other animals started trying to encroach, ready to pounce. A dragon and a new lion wanted to be king of the jungle. So the old lion had to wake up, remember who he really was, shake off his apathy and idleness. He had to remember how to roar again. He had to make all the other animals fear him. Not for him, but for them, to restore hierarchical. He needed to be at the top order to this feral chaos. First he found the dragon, emasculated him. Then he turned his attention to the new lion. But he decided there is a place for a bitch lion or a castrated dragon to do what the old lion says. Rather than tear the new lion's throat out, he thought he'd give it a chance to learn its place in the hierarchy. Because the old lion decided to remain king of the jungle. How do you like that for a metaphor? So there's only room for one of you to survive in this equation, but I'll leave you two to sort it out. Whoever puts this amount of money into this bank account first survives, and whoever doesn't, dies.
Michael holds up his phone with a number on.
Just to show I'm not messing about. Bunny?
Bunny points his gun at Dry Eye's foot and boom, fires as Dry Eye drops to the floor, writhing in pain. Then he turns the gun to point at Matthew's foot and boom, shoots Matthew in the foot too.
I'll leave it with you. See you later, chaps. Bunny, keep me posted.
Scene 95 omitted. Dun dun dun. Okay, interior, Posh Pete's house, day. Fletcher sits down opposite Coach and Posh Pete.
I've been looking forward to today.
There are 2 briefcases and a trunk. Coach gives one case to Fletcher.
Is that for me?
Fletcher opens the case and sees all his respective photographs, memory cards, etc., his insurance policy.
That is a disappointment. That does not look like £20 million.
It's more interesting than that. Your insurance policy. All the photos, all the bodies, all the skeletons, all the filth.
It's not the only one.
What do you think it is in that other case? I've been on to you for a long time, Fletcher.
For the first time, Fletcher looks ruffled.
What do you mean?
I mean, I knew you'd been following Mr. Adam. This is my job. When you came around that night, I knew you were only going to be there half an hour and tell me how clever you were and to blackmail us for £20 million. But I also knew you couldn't resist a 1,500-pound single malt, an 80-pound Wagyu steak, and a state-of-the-art smokeless barbie. That even kept your feet warm. No, Fletcher, you were there for the holiday. And once the scotch got into your cold veins, you lost the benefit of your sharp instincts. You're never going to the predator, Fletcher. You're always going to be the prey. I kept you there because I needed to know about Matthew and Dry Eye. It took us a while to find your insurance policies. You're not a little squirrel, Fletcher, but it was made a lot easier by planting a tracker in your shoes.
Flashback shot to Pete's house to see Pete putting a tracker in Fletcher's shoes, which he took off before going to the bathroom.
Now, are we putting you in the trunk or are you getting in yourself?
Let me explain.
Explain from inside the trunk.
Whoa. Let's just wait a minute here. This isn't the end.
Posh Pete's house moments later. Coach and Posh Pete stand listening to Fletcher, who is now inside of a trunk.
It's not Lord George or Dry Eye or even Matthew that's after Mickey. It's Aslan's father. His son took a 7-story jump out the window. Same Aslan you were storing in your freezer.
What about him?
Take this memory card and open it up.
Flanger hands the memory card to Coach through the trunk, who puts it in the tablet and opens up a series of photos to illustrate what Fletcher is saying as he says it.
You remember Aslan, don't you? Scroll down.
There is a photo of Aslan, then a photo of Aslan Sr.
Now that's Aslan Sr. Well, he's a Russian oligarch in the KGB before he made a load of dough privatizing water. Anyway, he wasn't too happy that his only son fell out a window when you went round it. Doesn't blame you, blames your boss. But scroll down again, his lads failed in the pub.
Photos of the 2 hitmen killed in the pub.
I don't think they'll fail again.
Settle on a photo of 2 Russian men we haven't seen before. Coach and Posh Pete can tell there's truth in what Fletcher is saying. Posh Pete gets straight on his phone to call Michael. Exterior of Billingsgate Fish Market. Michael leaves the market, and as his car pulls up, his phone rings. He gets in the back seat. Rosalind is silent as the car drives away. He answers the call to Posh Pete.
Hey, what is it?
You remember that Russian kid that fell out the window?
The car doors lock. Michael looks up and sees that it isn't his crew member in the front seat, but 2 Russians who are driving him away at gunpoint.
It's coming back to me.
Flashback to Aslan falling out the window and Posh Pete telling Michael what happened at the time. Michael looks at Rosalind. He is resigned to his fate as his phone rings and rings again.
Get down on the floor so no one can see you.
Suddenly, a van pulls up in front of the car, and the back door opens. The baby squad appear, armed with some guns. They fire continuously, shooting up the car and the Russians. Michael and Rosalind are crouched down in the footwell, looking into one another's eyes.
This is the price of not being a fisherman, babe.
I don't care. You're still a superstar.
The car slowly rolls across the road and just about hits the central reservation before stopping. The baby squad speed away. Into a producer's office, Day. Michael is talking to an unseen producer. We only see the back of his head. Presumably, Michael is pitching everything we've just seen as a movie idea.
That's supposed to say Fletcher, not Michael.
Fletcher is pitching everything we've just seen as a movie idea. What is
So
the
baby
redacted?
squad sprayed a car with bullets, killing the Russians as the car rolls to a halt. Smash cut to black.
But I want an ending.
No, my darling. What you want is a sequel.
The end.
Yay!
Nice.
Bravo, everyone. Bravo.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you.
fun.
It was. Oh, man, those glasses are killing me. Thank you all for joining us. Good night. There we go.